Let me guess, I said. Right about here, Leonid Shestakov shows up with an offer the Iranians can't refuse. Yes, exactly, Pierre said. The marketplace was empty, or nearly empty, due to U.S. and UN sanctions. European companies were reluctant to be seen walking hand in hand with Iran on Main Street. They needed an intermediary, and Leonid Shestakov provided a perfect solution. What about German laws banning exports of sensitive materials and technology? Nobody was enforcing them? I asked. Pierre waved his hand in the air as if shooing a fly. Please, he said. The German companies couldn't care less. Even if caught, and only a few of them were, they could always blame Leonid for misleading them and hiding the identity of the end user. And if that excuse happened to be rejected, the penalties were ridiculously low. Besides, the Weapons of War Control Law, KWKG of Germany, which theoretically could stop the trade with Iran, is enforced only sparingly and sporadically. You have to wonder what motivates these companies, I said, thinking out loud. I mean, really, is it simply greed? Is there any other agenda? Dan, you know greed isn't exactly a derogatory term in the business world. Of course, they wanted to make a profit. They wanted to expand their relationships with Russian companies and, through them, with Iran. Russia is an emerging market, booming each time the price of oil goes up. Everyone rushes in to take a bite of the growing pie. The German companies fear only one thing: the U.S. government. If they are caught selling materials to Iran, they can kiss goodbye any chance of ever doing business in the U.S. And for the big German companies, we're not talking Adolf's plumbing supplies here. That is one huge deterrent. So they feel comfortable selling to Leonid Shestakov, who promises that the goods will end up in the Russian markets, knowing full well that the end user is in Iran. They could always say they didn't know, I said. Right, he said bitterly. They didn't know, merde. Like hell they didn't. Pierre stopped. Well, go on, I urged him. Then have the agency file a formal request. I can't say anything else. He was right, of course, and I dedicated the rest of the time with Pierre listening to his funny stories, all crude, about the women he had conquered and those he was about to conquer, using language that would make a Bangkok pimp blush. One final query, I said. The Boucher reactor is intended to generate electricity, not nuclear bombs, so why all the fuss? Dan, that's true if the Iranians will honor their commitment to return the spent uranium rods to Russia. What if they refuse? The Russians will send their army to retrieve them? The real risk is the plants in Natanz and Iraq, which are meant to facilitate the manufacture of the bomb. The Iranians are using the innocuous-looking reactor in Boucher to obtain materials which in fact will be used in Natanz and Iraq. And of course, there is always the experience gained by Iranian scientists in operating a nuclear reactor. That experience could be used later in building a bomb. As I left the meeting with Pierre, laughing at his jokes, I thought of my father's saying that laughing is good exercise. It's like jogging on the inside. I went to an internet cafe and logged into my private mailbox on Gmail. There was a message from Eric. Go to the kingdom and call me. I took a cab to the American Embassy on Avenue Gabriel, right next to the Place de la Concorde, and a block away from the glitzy Avenue des Champs-Élysées. After a strict security check, I was led by the carbon monoxide MMO, the communication officer,